Hello and welcome to Fruhling, our first attempt at Farming Simulator 22 live streaming. So welcome to it. Fruhling is a map located in Germany, or it's a fictional town set in central Germany. And this is a series I'm going to be calling Back to the Basics. So we're getting back to basics on Farming Simulator. We're not going to do anything crazy. We're not going to do anything over the top. But we're going to start today by introducing you kind of to the properties we have and the properties we'll be farming. So welcome in. As you can see, it's a rather small map. There isn't a whole lot of purchasable territory. There's a lot of woods on the outskirts, but you can't purchase it. And a good side of the map is actually taken up by this giant freaking lake. So there isn't a whole lot to it. We, of course, have our main farmyard here. Grasslands, grasslands, grasslands. There's a grass field on the other side. Field 12. Which consists of wheat, and field 9, which consists of corn. Corn we're going to be turning into silage. Wheat, of course, we'll just take in. We'll probably turn that into flour, or sell that to a flour mill. And then again, we're going to take the corn here, and we're going to grind that into silage. And you can see we've got a harvester over here. That's our Forage Harvester. So I'm doing this in Farm Manager, which gives you all the equipment you need. I sold a bunch of the equipment to make room for the equipment that we'll be using here for this Let's Play. So we've got some pretty basic things for hay right now. You can see we've got a pickup wagon, got a tedder here. We do have a baler here. This is a New Holland BR6090. That's an old school New Holland round baler. So that's always good. We have the New Holland Fiat Agri G240. I will get into the details on why the steering axle is actually so far forward of the tractor, but you can see we've got the twin arrows on there because we have crop destruction on. This is our cattle pen. It's got our K-brand Knight, which is a feed dispenser. We're going to start off with the top liner from Deutzfahr. This is a German-branded tractor company. This is actually a starting harvester that you can get. It's kind of in this large structure for parking. Turn on the shed lights here. We've got our silo here. It's a grain silo. I don't know. You see, it doesn't tell you how much the Hassan barn makes. We do have a windrow here, a chicken pen here, kind of like a roofed awning with a liquids tank here. Not really. Yeah, it just kind of goes around. I did add ourselves a power washer, as well as a toolbox. And yes, this toolbox is mobile. You can carry it around. It's part of a good mod. This is our other tractor in the mix, our New Holland Tm 155. So if you noticed, the main tractors that we're using are New Hollands. We're actually going to go ahead, we're going to jump into the TM 155, and we're going to take that over to our Forage Harvester. So, Farming Simulator 22. Got a couple other implements there, but we're gonna get down to it. This is gonna be a New Holland. Our main machinery is gonna be New Holland. We'll eventually replace the Deutzfahr Holland. But we're gonna get going here. Just use the main barn area. That's the main farm house. And actually, I'm going to do this first. I'm going to open up the wardrobe here. We're going to change out... I'm not going to change out the clothing. we're going to change out a few things. So as you can see, character customization in the, let's just throw on the New Holland stuff. Character customization in the new game includes clothing styles and brands, which they have quite a few of. We are dealing primarily with character customizations on a minimal scale. Sorry, I'm losing track. It was a long day. I had a shift at work today. We'll get into that as the video goes on. I want to talk more about where I've been and where I'm going. So we'll be generally dealing with New Holland tractors for everything on the farm. I've decided this is going to be our Holland branded tractor. We're going to do a touch of everything on this map. But we're going to have to do it with smaller equipment and a lot lower herd sizes and everything else. You know, we're going to keep our mind open to the idea. So the first thing that we need to take care of today is we need to go down to our Forage Harvester and clear our primary cornfield here, field number 9 of its maize. You'll see we have $400,000 left. I've got this on the dollar system, miles per hour, things like that. So I do apologize if anybody watches this in European format. You know, might have something different. Don't. Turn around here and we'll do the introductions for our Forage Harvester. Actually, we'll leave the tractor going. Alright, so we've got the New Holland Forage Cruiser here, FR 480. We did put the track on. You can see everything is 3D track modeling now. You'll even see there's notes of the diesel exhaust fluid as part of the tractor stats. That is not something that you'll see on console being utilized. We do have a small corn header here. We're not gonna, like I said, we're not gonna expand into anything big. This itself is a mod, so we're using a modded forage harvester. We're actually using a modded header as well. So this is what we call a stock crusher header. This will mulch the field as well as do its normal corn harvest. And then back here we have a Crampe trailer with the Michelin logo all over it. This is actually something you will see in Europe from time to time. Michelin sponsored stuff. But yeah, so the Forage Cruisers modified with the tracks. We put the light bars on. That way we can do some night stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to start the first process, which is silage harvesting. These mods are great. I will say that the modding community so far has released some really nice stuff, and even though there's quite a backlog of equipment, there's also a lot of very good equipment coming out. This Forage Cruiser, this is my first time using this thing. As you can see, like I said, the spacing for everything is going to be extremely tight. You're not going to be able to get away with anything too hectic or crazy. Hopefully the pipe length... Oof, just found a drainage ditch. Hopefully the pipe length is enough, but this cornfield is definitely enough. So we're going to get ourselves set to go, and we're going to get our headlines. Hi Mama Duck, good to see you. Good to hear from you. Enjoy the lurk. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. And welcome to FS22 on this channel. I thought I had the stock crusher, but apparently I don't have the stock crusher. So as you can see, the cornfield is a fairly decent size. We will have the advantage. There is something new to the game that is very, very new. There are fermenting silos. I know it doesn't seem like much to those that are uninitiated or wouldn't necessarily understand much about farming itself, but one of the things that has driven me nuts about the game so far has been the fact that up until this iteration of the game, we did not have fermenting silos. So we did not have silos that could actually go through the fermentation process and actually, you know, give us another opportunity other than silage bunkers. Silage bunkers under certain circumstances are really nice, and there are plenty of farms out there that run both options. You'll see an American farm that I have set up actually on Elm Creek at some point. That's one of the planned things, but you know, you'll see a dairy operation going on there with both. So the advent of a fermenting silo does in fact really help things quite a lot. You know, it's one of those things we've been kind of waiting for on a console end. I know PC players have probably been dealing with that since at least FS17. You've probably had some mods out there that aren't, you know, necessarily giant mod hub mods, but they exist. But for us console players, this is the first time that we'll be able to branch out. So, anywho, where have I been? Well, I have been through a long couple of months of very, very busy schedule. That has not been easy to... That has not been easy to endure. It's definitely not the hardest amount of time that I've been away from this or any of those other things, but it did involve me having to take a step back. So my last broadcast was mid-November, and on that broadcast I did mention to people that there was quite a possibility that I would have to cut back on streaming and find a real job, which is okay. I mean, everybody's got to do it. You know, finances weren't where they had been previously, and the increase in costs of living, even with raises and everything else considered, it was a very difficult situation. So shortly after that last broadcast in which I mentioned I would probably have to get a job, I ended up having to go out and get a job. I filled out a job application, and I literally got a phone call the very next day. I had an interview a couple of days later, and I was pretty much hired on the spot, and I started working. I'm not going to say where I work. For the sake of privacy, you know, there's certain things that I won't say. Some people know me beyond the streams, and that's okay. But I'm going to keep it private to myself. But to say the least, I work in aftermarket automotive parts as a delivery driver and as somebody working stock intake and control. So I do a few different things at my job, but it involves 10-hour shifts, 40 hours a week typically, which is good. Nothing too extreme. But with regard to my shift, I ended up picking up a lot of overtime, and first week I worked, the first official week I worked, I actually had a really bad cold. Now, I know with everything going on with the plague and everything, I'm just going to call it the plague for humanity's sake. I know with everything going on, though, with COVID, it's really bad. You don't want to have a cold in that situation because the appear to be controlling the situation, appear to be working with the situation. But what ended up happening is I had a really bad cold. I started getting on the mend with it. It was, in fact, just a cold. And that was my first week of work. I worked with a cold. 40-hour work week. First time in a full-time work experience, 3 years. So it was a lot to take on. Um, you know, 40 hours doesn't seem like much for the average person. But after 3 years of taking it off, it did kind of take a toll. I went a week after that without having a cold, getting into the flow of everything and starting to feel better. No sooner did I get through that, I had COVID. It started with my daughter. My daughter actually caught it first. And she actually kicked... Get this, she actually kicked it in 2 days' time. It was amazing. She went through what she needed to. It was like a really bad fever for her. You know, she's young. She's very virile, we'll say. So nothing really affected her too badly. But she got through it, and we were absolutely amazed at how well she did. We had no idea she had COVID, simply because of how quick it got through. Of it. And then, of course, everybody started coming down with it, one after the other. And I had about 2.5 weeks away from work myself. I had a period of time where I slept and slept and slept and slept. I must have had 20 hours under my belt in one straight sleep session. And of course, got better, which took some time. Unfortunately, my wife is still suffering from symptoms of long-haul COVID. Long COVID, which a lot of people have heard of by now, which has been absolutely no fun. So, let's go over the fermenting silos. Let's interrupt the story for a moment. This is the Hassan fermenter silo. This is an empty silo that we will be putting our chaff into and fermenting it into silage. The first goal that we have is to go ahead and pick up some Swiss brown cows, which are our first step. Like I said, we're gonna do a little bit of everything on this map. We're gonna get back to the basics. We're gonna do some root crop. We're gonna do some livestock. We are going to, some arables. We are going to do a little bit of everything. Today is silage, grass, and hopefully some meat. So, anyway, there we go. Finally got the prompt. So we got through COVID. Ever since then, it's been kind of an uphill recovery process for us. For my wife especially, the process has been very daunting, and bless her, she's been able to handle it better than anyone I know, but due to her fight and just kind of demands on my employment, my availability through employment, it has been one thing after the other for us here. So that's kind of where I've been. There's nothing real different or super special about me than anybody else that's gone through COVID, and I want people to understand that I'm not trying to single out or make excuses, but I'm sure a lot of people have been asking where I've been and what I've been up to the last few months, or very few people, honestly, but it's been a long haul. As for Farming Simulator, I mean, obviously it's been since November, and I was playing Farming Simulator 19 at the time due to the fact that 22 was not working on my device. So my device is still chiming that this game does not support the broadcast play that you are experiencing today. Obviously, we're getting this. Getting this even in light stream, so we're not having not having any issues with Lightstream or anything like that. Sorry, I paused because I was looking at a lag spike that hopefully no one else experienced on their side. But, you know, I was sitting at a very frustrated spot with Farming Simulator because I wanted the opportunity to stream this game from the get-go. Looking back on it and experiencing everything that I have experienced, I can honestly say without a doubt I am very happy that it didn't go the way I had planned. So obviously I've had a very busy couple of months as it was, and if it had worked I would have felt an obligation to stick by it. And just with the way that the game was behaving and the fact that the numbers don't necessarily grow as quick as I'd hoped, it was nice to just kind of sit back and do what I needed to do at home and then kind of come back to it. I will say that every time that Farming Simulator 22 had an update, I put it through the broadcast system to try to get it to work. And unfortunately, it just did not work a few times. Now, like I said, the system is still to this point prompting that this game does not allow for broadcasting, which is absolutely hilarious because that's exactly what I've been able to do. Is I've been able to broadcast today. But this comes in light of a update that no one saw coming, a system update, and I jumped on, and that's the few minutes, 20 minutes I think I ended up with the other day. Anyway, that's the 20-minute span of broadcasting that you saw the other day when I was talking about it. So what's interesting about this map, Fruhling, is we're dealing with a very small, very theme-appropriated map. And I wanted to bring a brand into it that wouldn't be stopped up by size demands or anything like that. New Holland is actually a favorite brand of mine. It's not my most favorite brand. Anybody who's ever watched me in the past understands that John Deere, and yes, I'm backing over a crop, that's bad on me, but John Deere is definitely my fan favorite. Overall, out of my top 5 tractor brands, John Deere sits at the top. New Holland and Fiat Agri, even though they're part of Case and Case International, they've retained a lot of what made them. It's a combination, the modern New Holland is a combination of several different tractor brands brought together through acquisition over the span of the last 20 to 25 years. And New Holland is just happens to be a favorite of mine through those various acquisitions. So we're streaming this. When I get ready for Animal Pens, I will acquire the new. For any of you who pay attention to mods and mod news, knows that the New Holland T4 tractor came out the other day. I'm looking forward to a modern look on that. I had intended, to be perfectly honest with you, tractor-mounted corn forage harvester like you're seeing here. We now have the front-mounted tractor, adapters for the front. Unfortunately, my current options for tractors do not have enough horsepower for that, but we are going to stick with the older New Holland brands for this time. So, everything you're seeing as far as main equipment today is modded. It's not one of those things where it's not. So machinery, harvester, those things are in fact modded. Modded is how it goes. So why am I not happy, or why am I glad that in my displeasure with the game I was able to take a break and kind of take a step back is actually kind of twofold. One is I was able to take a step back without feeling like I was chipping somebody of Let's Play. Obviously, I haven't had the ability to stream this game up until this week, which is a huge amount of time for anybody who does even the amateur level. You know, I dabble in it. I'm kind of an amateur, so it's an amateur level uploading, if you will. There are plenty of other streamers out there that continue to do stuff. I have an appreciation for it. But the primary reason that I'm really kind of happy for this is because of the extent of growth that's gone on in this game. I can honestly say that the next iteration of Farming Simulator, if I do pick it up, I won't pick it up on launch day, I won't pick it up on launch week or month. I will wait 5 or 6 months before I pick it up, because the base game, for all intents and purposes, the base game and the improvements that changed to the system are really kind of cool and creative. The unfortunate side effect of that is that we have this system where it's not enough. Until mods really come onto the scene, the maps are really lackluster. They don't show any real creativity or pizzazz to them, and it's okay. I mean, that's not what they're there for. They're there to the game. But if we didn't have mods, I don't think the game would last as long as it does. And I mean, these are 2-year life cycles for most of these games. Obviously, FS19 had a 3-year life cycle, mostly due to COVID. I'm hoping that Farming Simulator as a whole will go to a 3 or 4-year life cycle, just given the, the amount of stuff that I'm seeing. So obviously mods are starting to pick up and get really good. I will say that there were a couple of mods from people that you're used to in the community that immediately rang out and came out within a couple of weeks of the game launching. ModHub is currently sitting at over 700 mods waiting to be tested still. And if for some reason your mod fails that initial testing, you've got a bunch of mods in front of you. There are a lot of projects, like I said, that have come out that are already bang up in what they do. Sid Modding's John Deere X9 is an excellent example of that. That came out. That's a bang up job. They also released, or he released, his 8R pack, which has the 8R, the 8RT, and the 8RX in it. Oh my god. So traffic is a real pain in this game, I will say that. In an effort to speed up traffic, they seem to have forgot to add more AI programming to it. But the 8RX, anyway, as I was saying, the 8RX came out with the 8R pack, but it came out specifically paired with a planter, and that planter actually has the exact rate tanks, which are saddle tanks that go on the rear fenders of the 8RX, for fertilizer. Of course, we've got precision farming coming out next month, precisely a month from the 22nd, so not far off, but not too close either. And then of course there's new features to the game that either enhanced or ticked you off, depending on who you are. But enhanced your gaming experience or ticked you off, I should say. Stone picking was not what I signed up for after all. I liked the idea and the concept, but it just became a slow drudge. Weeds are still weeds at the end of the day, but I will make more of an effort to do that once precision farming comes into play. New Holland tractors are nice. I haven't done a tractor-based farm like this where I've done New Hollands. We've always done things like John Deere, of course. Now you can actually see the literage that you have going here. And maybe a production. The reason that we're able to get away with this is they run the silos like productions, and I'm not going to get into productions too hard today. But yeah, we can see that we've got silage options for grass, hay, chaff, and straw. So you can convert whatever you want to into silage. So we're going to activate the chaff option. And that's going to start turning that chaff that we're bringing in into silage. This farmyard is a custom build. You get it on whatever mode you decide to go with. Wow, I really didn't pay attention. The steering axle was caught. So no matter what mode you start off in, you get options to use this farm, which is nice. But the farmyard is rather tight, so whatever you choose to do, and it kind of explains the whole map, is it's kind of tight. I don't necessarily feel claustrophobic with it, but I don't necessarily feel like I would if I had, say, an American map. So just kind of keep that in mind. You can tell the tractor's getting pulled this way or that way when I go around a corner. It's because I'm getting caught on a tree or a corner or something else. It can be detrimental, but at the same time I'll learn how to drive in these spaces. In-cab stuff is more interesting in some of these models, because you can see clutch pedal work and things like that. I'm not huge on the manual transmission, so I have switched over to automatic transmissions. It still imitates the manual transmission, so you still get the engine strain under weight and things of that nature. You still get the sim feeling. But it spares me from having to go along with anything too drastic. So we are making corn silage. Like I said, I want to go ahead and pick up a small group of cattle. We'll probably do 12 brown Swiss, but that'll be a couple episodes in, even if I consistently stick with it. I love how this thing sounds like it runs like a 4-cylinder engine. It really is kind of a quiet for one of the Forage Harvesters. It's kind of quiet. Maturity has definitely been a hard struggle for this game. I won't sugarcoat it. I will say that I believe it was a little undercooked when it came out, which is a common occurrence amongst video games that I've played in the last couple of years. It just seems a little underdone. And I know that, looking at it, it had a year longer development cycle than it has. They opened up the slot counts. I mean, I can have basically what I want when I want, which is really nice in a lot of ways. Don't get me wrong. But it does cause some interesting things to occur. Obviously, seasons are a thing now. You can see up in the upper right-hand corner, I do have a seasons menu there. It gives me the readout of the weather, what month it is, and Giants have actually produced this game to run on a 1 day equals 1 month calendar. Now, of course, before they even got the game launched, they did in fact change that over so that it wasn't producing, so that you could actually take out the months. Your months can be 28 days long now, which can be cool, but it can also be a drastic change. And the reason behind that is because of the way productions run, we have a lot of different things that won't necessarily make you money until a production has been made, until something has actually been made that you can sell with it. Which, depending on your scale, could be longer, it could be shorter. But it is an interesting thing. Obviously, when we were running Realismus's mod for seasons on FS19, that was offering, or I was doing 3-day months on that. So each month of the season was represented by 3 days. That's what we're trying here. That's what I'm trying on my other farm. There are some really odd things that are going on as well. Grass does not rot away like it does when you cut it in seasons 19. We're just going to call it seasons 19 for simplification. That is, of course, the seasons mod offered in FS19. That's the one I have experience with. I would talk about the one for 17, but I don't have any experience with FS17. So I'm just going to stick with what I know and just kind of explain what I know there. So mods themselves, have done a lot of work to try to counter this problem of not necessarily having the same seasons or the same stuff available to us. Giants has made a accessible to everyone version of seasons, and that's okay in small doses. Obviously we've got a few different things available to us here that we wouldn't have with modding. The problem is I rather enjoyed FS19's FS19's approach to seasons, and I enjoyed seasons mod in general because it took something that was heavily accessible and it made it more of a simulator for those of us that are diehards. So on the one hand, it was good because it made it possible for us to do farming when we saw fit, and it wasn't just endless summer. But on the other hand, it's nice what Giants is doing because it's making the game more accessible for people that aren't necessarily able to use every part of that. You don't have to cure grass works in this one. You don't have the chance to double plant. So the method of double planting works in certain Midwest states, like Ohio, for example. You might have a crop of summer wheat, and right behind the summer wheat, you would put in a crop of soybeans. Rapidly grow soybeans and harvest those before fall got too far along. That is not an option anymore. You plant when the calendar tells you you can plant. I think it's going to come down to what modders, when they're creating maps, I should say map creators. It will come down to the individual map creator to come up with an appropriate seasons geo for planting and for other things. Right now we're dealing with a system that gives us really kind of jack squat. Let's give you some corn socks. Don't you like those? Now, of course, the accessibility does bring some interesting parts to it. Animals. There are portions of Realismus modding's animals that are accurate to the way the mod was created. But then there are parts of it that are so far off, it isn't funny. So Obviously, I haven't had a ton of time with this game, and it's a personal regret of mine that a lot of other things have come up. But that's kind of the reality of life. You don't always get what you want to do. So we're gonna explore the different aspects of Farming Simulator 22 in comparison with 19. Yeah, that just happened. But we're gonna compare. We're gonna make comparisons to the similarities, but we're also gonna make comparisons to the differences. All right. So our first goal of making chaff to ferment into silage is done. We don't have a whole lot of silage to speak of, but luckily you can still buy bales. So we may have to do that depending on what we end up with. Now the front of the farmyard is way too small to it's not actually when you consider how big the most of the forage harvesters are. We are gonna get her this farm this way. There is actually going to be a spot open as far as I just haven't gotten that far yet today. So I'm just gonna park the forage cruiser over here. We're gonna keep it. Like I said, I had intended on getting a tractor that could handle, having this small intake and having a piece mounted to the 3-point link. We may still upgrade ourselves to a T7 or T8 New Holland when we get going. But for now, we're going to go ahead and do it that way. Alright. So we're going to use the TM155 for a decent amount of things in the field. It's not necessarily the piece that comes with the most power. That'll be our other tractor. The model itself is pretty simple. I do enjoy the simple model. You can kind of see the grating through the front grille there. That is quite spectacular. I'm not really sure about the oil filters, like budging out side like that. If anybody watches this and sees this, tell me, if you had a TM155, let me know. Was that actually like a design thing where for some reason the casing would come down and the oil filters had slots cut in them like that? Anyway, not all models are this on the lower end like this. I do like this for the sound, and you can see the interior design is fantastic. Turn on lights, you can see things going on. You can turn on the interior light, which is wicked cool. It does show on this that everything else is off, but it's not. But still, it's actually really nice. You can see forward and neutral, you can see RPMs and all sorts of things. Some of these models toggle so they open rear windows and doors. Similar to what you would have seen in FS19 anyway. Let's get this back. This tractor is actually going to keep the trailer on here. We're gonna handle the wheat field at the same time. So we're gonna get the wheat out of the way. I was thinking about putting off the T4. We have a reason to. Obviously, if I updated, I'll have to check the prices on the T4. Because if we tried to upgrade our larger tractors and get those changed over to 100, obviously, we don't want to do that in the first episode of Let's Play, but B, we also don't want to bankrupt ourselves, which is exactly what we'd do if we tried to T8 on comes. I don't know what prompted me to keep the horse. Unfortunately, I just don't have the ability to keep Hope, the name of the black horse here. I think that's a Black Stallion reference. I'm pretty sure that's a Black Stallion reference anyway. It's been a while. I was a young kid last one. We've got the time of day. I don't know if you noticed, but it's at a 0.5. So that means 24 hours in real life would be about 48 hours. Well, for every 24 hours in game would actually be 48 real hours. So that's pretty intense. Alright, so let's shut that tractor off. Let's go into our inventory. You can see this screen. We've got sales now on equipment. I'm going to buy a gator up. But we can get in here. We do have a subsoiler. We're actually going to sell this subsoiler. I know this sounds crazy. We're going to do a double check on our large tractor. So the TM... The TM 155 is our medium-sized tractor at 155 horses. This has 240 horses, the Genesis Turbo. Now, the Genesis Turbo that we're dealing with here has a forward axle. The steering axle sits farther forward to the nose to give a tighter turning radius. It doesn't get caught in the frame as much. This is a blue power edition, so it's a chromed out blue. This would have been right when Fiat was buying up New Holland, Ford, and all of those and kind of merging them into one. So when Ford Agri in Europe was bought out, they officially turned the brand over to New Holland. They kept the blue and the white, and they went to a New Holland Fiat Agri, which would have been these early tractors. In the United States, it would have just been straight up New Holland. They are produced typically in Case International Harvester factories, so a lot of New Holland implements such as balers and like are actually red in color, and in fact to this day red and yellow is a typical color for US purchased Fiat equipment. Got our barn over here. You can see a bale trailer available. So there are two things that we're going to check on today. Number one, we're going to go ahead and we're going to expand our fleet. It is my goal to eventually get this, the TK 4.80. It's a methane-powered tractor. But that's probably when we do some... we'll probably do some vineyards with this. The only two things we probably won't do on this Let's Play is we probably won't do cotton and we probably won't do olives. Just because I have goals for that. But we'll eventually get one of these rigs. It's 75 horses. It's not much, but for vineyards, we're going to want it. And you can see we've got a fair few different things. T6 is an option. But we're going strictly for the T4 series today. So we're going to see how much this bugger costs me. I'm going to go with a Midas tire. I'm going to do wide with weights. We're actually going to do a rear bar here. We're going to leave an open cabin. This is not a very common design scheme in Farming Sim. We're going to use a quickie attacher because we're going to need that. And then we're going to go to the T495 and we're going to change over. We're going to keep the white rims actually. We'll keep the license plate the same for right now. This is not. I don't even know if there's one. Yeah, there's one mounted to the exhaust pipe. So we're going to actually change that. As you can see, we can change that to no plate. Hit OK. Takes the plate right off the tractor. Which is actually a good thing in my mind. So that's showing $57,200 is going to be the cost of it. We're going to want this for baling anyway, because we're going to need to transport as well as load bales with this. So we might as well get this, get it out of the way. Let's go down and take a look. This T4 is a mod. This is actually a pretty common tractor to see even in the United States. This will be the most modern thing in the fleet for a while. The goal is to get cattle and sheep up and running. And once we get cattle and sheep up and running and we get some more money in the bank, the next goal will be modernizing the fleet. So our medium tractor will be the first thing we modernize. We'll go up to a T7 there. And then we will eventually get to a T8. So we want to own all of the map. You can see that's a manual transmission. We've got a couple different sticks there. That's pretty cool. It's going to delay a little. It looks... You can even see the key twisting in the ignition. That's cool. What's noticeable right away is a lot of these mods are really well put together. However, there are instances of some really flat textures, and this is one of them. Not a huge fan of that, but that's okay. That's alright. We don't have to have everything perfect, right? Alright, so we're going to go in here, and we're going to get into our front loader design. We need front loaders, we need a quickie, and so we'll get the Q5 is looking like the appropriate one. We'll do the main color of New Holland, and we'll do the design color. Oh, we'll leave the design color black. Okay, there we go. Let's see if we got this. May have to go down one more level. Looks like... Oh my god, that looks huge. Comparison. I do like that though, so we'll stick with that. Okay. The other thing that we need to do today is we need to get ourselves into plows. We need to go to the lizard. So we'll do the 6 meter, do a New Holland, and design color we'll do a white. We want it to match up the New Holland stuff. That lizard plow, we'll go ahead, we'll hook it onto this because this will be rather quick. Fold this up on our beacon here because we need to get back to the farm. It's probably the only farm tractor that's honestly going to fit the farm. The quickie arms still look too big on this. I think it was probably built and designed for the Stoll. But Stoll didn't actually make a return in FS22. Stole was actually put in by a modder. You know, it's might have bought the wrong one, honestly, but that's okay. We'll stick with what we've got. And 26 miles an hour is kind of a fast demon for this particular map. I think the gate just barely. Just barely. Okay. We're gonna park this bugger, or we're gonna park the plow anyway, right over here. Now our small tractor will go right over here. So this tractor is going to be used as our yard tractor as well as help with hay. And in fact, the first job it'll probably get is to ted up hay. Alright, so let's get a look into... Okay. So we've got 1,000 silage so far right now. For a silo. It's not giving us our total amount. So for 1,000 chaff, we get 1,000 silage. That's okay. This whole farm area is really, really nice. Now we can see when we come up. This is great. I will say that productions, tractors, buildings, anything that has storage or runs anything will show the bottom right corner, that display kind of going through. So you can see various things going on. Whether or not that stays is, well, it's completely up to them, really. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to get the top liner out here. We're going to get the header trailer hooked in, and we're going to go to the field across the way and get that done. Excuse me. So we'll have to find a more appropriate place to park this trailer, but for now we'll do that. Like I said, there's quite a bit of money left from the million or 1.2 million that you start with. Sell off the tractors here. Quite honestly, there was some gear that I just would have never used. And that's okay. I'm going to leave the TM 155 right here. Hooked up to our train back there. I'm going to get this Deutzfahr out of here. Now, the Deutzfahr is a very nice addition to the team of harvesters. Game. I like the top liner over a lot of other starting stuff. There's a New Holland TX32 that was a starter like this one. It was just considered the best of the best. Top liner can actually hook into its own header trailer. You'll notice even though the machinery is dirty, it is actually repaired. I had a bad feeling about this. There's just so much clutter in this yard. We're going to try to fit out the main gate. You ever see those toys when you were growing up that have like the different shapes and you gotta put the shapes in? That's what that feels like. That gate is so bad at being a gate, honestly. No big deal. I'm getting lucky because a few things actually clear through surfaces in this game now. I don't know whether it's because there's idiots like me who drive things. Yeah, this is when you know I'm really concentrating. Here we go, we can head out here. I keep forgetting that this road exists because I don't have the intent to start with chickens, although that's what I should honestly start with. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna park this like so right here. Keep this running. I'm actually gonna go ahead and retrieve. Yeah, we'll retrieve the T4. So like I said, this is gonna be a yard servicing tractor a lot of the time. Which means it's gonna get a lot of work like this when we need to get in and out of this yard. It's actually kind of enlightening, to be honest. It's kind of a nice touch. Okay, let's do this. Need to actually bring that back up. Times 3 clock is what I typically work off of now. I know we used to do times 5 on seasons with 1 or 2 days a month. Wow, okay, if it wasn't for that clipping. Okay, so we're gonna pull this right up to the corner here. And I'm gonna leave this attached to the trailer. Luckily we don't get traffic through on this road, otherwise this would be a terrible thing to try to get through. Nope. Just gonna back that up. We're actually gonna pull this right into the grass right over here. Shut that off. I like the logistics of this map. This map is going to make you think about small things like, wait, I'm going to get a tractor in there. Wait, I got to get this harvester in here. We won't go much larger than this Deutz farm. We may even leave this Deutz farm as the primary harvester for a while. But go ahead, there's a straw swath already enabled, so let's go ahead and drop a line of straw, which we're going to nail later. The animations have gotten a lot better, of course, with the source. This is not your typical animation. I do. I like these smaller fields. Nice. Smaller fields, smaller map. Getting back to the way that these maps are supposed to be. And also me not being able to say anything in first person. I'll leave that strip there. I'll come back for it. I'm going to make a headland. sure what we'll put in here next year. That's kind of... Right now we're just going to have a field that we're going to have here harvesting. Easily turn this field. It's a smaller map, so I wouldn't do it, but it's like you could easily turn this to an extension of the farm itself. Have kind of more around here. This is a pretty phenomenal map overall, but it does come with its drawbacks. To try to clear the tree here. I do. I like the looks of the Deutz-Fahr. It's one of my, as far as classic harvesters go, this is actually one of those ones that I would go for. The animations, the sound development for this game was also a big jump for me. This is one of the more impressive pieces about the game overall. And I just have to say, like, the push to develop better sounds and to develop better particle effects. I mean, you can see that in the way the particle effects are at the rear of the harvester. You know, there's so much that's being properly done here that it scares you to think of the jump that this has. It's a substantial jump in the performance graphics. You know, but I mean, when I went over from a regular Xbox One X to Series X, Farming Simulator 19, the change was drastic. Hit the header trailer. Doing so much today on this map, and this is a very different feeling from Farming Simulator 19. You know, the first real difference being the feel that you get from the pacing that you get. It's, in Farming Simulator 19, it was about making money. In Farming Simulator 22, it seems to be smarter, which is, you know, it would seem a little crazy, but it's really something different, something to obviously, we're going to show off some of the bigger set pieces here with my other series. We'll be doing Tuesdays for American style, which will be coming out. But for the foreseeable future, this is what we're going to be at. We're going to try to do things on kind of a lower scale way. And I hope y'all can stay and see through what we've got planned. I know that I'm looking forward to it quite heavily. I've got some ideas that have been running through my head, and it is going to make a huge difference in the way that this game plays. We're going to have a decent night. There's some bigger things That won't necessarily be big, but they'll definitely be something to watch for. The increased slot count is always a nice touch as well. We've got buildings and all sorts of other things set up here in Farmstead. We're not going to abandon those, but I can remember the frustrations of talking slot count with FS19. And the biggest thing is when you get into the more detailed tractors. And it's insane. It's insane just like how much the old slot counts used to be. Now slot counts from base game FS22 to what is current FS22 are a little different. They took away about 1,000 slots to the count. They also added a little higher count on machinery. And then, of course, try to improve it a little more. Excuse me. Sorry, a little dry. Through improving it, though, the way that they're doing here, it has enhanced the performance of the slot count a little better. And it has made it a lot easier to go through to play the game. It's still, there's like 4,000 allotted slots, and a lot of things, I'll show you in a second actually, a lot of things really don't require that much more. I'm gonna use an example with a modder, just to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that you see. See some weeds in here? We do not have weeds on, but I do have a small announcement for that. Just like with everything else, Farming Simulator 19, a lot of gameplay, and we slowly expose ourselves to new things each and every day on that. So with the advent of Farming Simulator 2, one of the things that we will be exposing ourselves to as we progress through the story will actually be turning this back on. I plan on doing this with the Precision Farming DLC to get a better feel for weeds, because those are going to come into play as well. If we don't like them, just like stones, we'll shut them off. I tried playing the game so hard with what they're calling stone picking, what I call rock picking. It's not really a fair assessment of everything they're doing, because you don't get a good feeling for it. But it just didn't end up working the way that rock picking actually works, and so I just didn't stick with it. Okay. Get this set up just right. And the other thing about farming on this scale is we're going to do things at a slower pace. So much of what we did in FS19 towards the end was big farming on big plots of land at a much higher pace. See the headers snapping on there. That's going to change. That is officially in the works for the change. It's just the way it is, I can't justify running around with my head cut off like a chicken, and a lot of people can't justify necessarily watching farming Let's Play. That's insane. So So animals obviously will be coming next. The goal is to get ourselves 12 Swiss browns. I am experimenting with a small herd of Holstein cattle on my other farm, which will have a couple of weekly or bi-weekly plays on that anyway. That's kind of the plan to eventually get there. Left the other one running. You can see our pressure washer here from the last games have made its return. The only issue that I have currently with that pressure washer is that around with, so it makes for washing things. Makes it, you know, with the placement. There is no pallet underneath it. So stall pressure washer exists next to the other one. It just doesn't have its pallet variant. Like I said, that toolbox is mobile, so now can actually repair. Although at the end of the session, it goes back to being wherever it was sitting before. Just keep that in mind as well. This is a nifty little tractor, I'd say. It just came out the other day. It's one of those small pieces that's really kind of worth it for the long run. Okay. Got a nice shed in here. Huh, I wonder if those... Hey, those lights are in fact interlinked. Okay, well let's get our other tractor out there. I'm just gonna keep the land train going here. Take this front cart, pull it up. Like I said, I eventually want to go to New Holland Harvester as well, or New Holland Combine Harvester. The Forage Harvester was kind of a splurge. We did buy the smaller head. That way we weren't honestly bankrupting ourselves. Wow, we almost actually filled up carts. See, just the overall basic design of everything has really kind of cleaned up and has become something of a wonder to behold, really. Like it, working in this small yard is kind of a pain in the neck, but honestly, I like the feel of the environment in this game. I feel like you're actually in like a small European farmyard and dairy. How did I get caught on? Just barely cleared it. Gonna get ourselves backed over to that side. Let's see, we've got the disc mine ready to go. Semi ready to go anyway. It's a little long for this map. It's gonna be interesting to say the least. Run the disc mine. That's what we're gonna do. spawn in exactly where they want. Had a deer problem here on this map. Start offloading the wheat. Like I said, productions and everything. We're gonna probably talk about that on the American map a little. The plan is to start streaming Tuesday nights and Sunday afternoons. So Sunday afternoon for me might be Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning for some of you people in the world out there. And I'm definitely tired. I had to be up at 5 this morning. I had a last Saturday shift job. Proud of myself. I advanced myself well enough recently to get myself into a new set of hours and similar shift but a different set of days. So I don't work Wednesday, Saturday, or Sunday. That, detach those. Alright. So, let's go ahead, we'll get the Deutz-Fahr pulled up, we'll get that hosed off, we'll get it parked, and then we're actually gonna get ourselves Forage Harvester, do the same exact thing. It's a great opportunity to do some small stuff here. I love this map for the size of it. Just resonates with getting back to those basics. And that's what we're doing here today is showing some basic activities like combine harvesting, forage harvesting. We'll be showing some baling. With any luck, we'll even be showing some grass cutting and some tedding today. Which, once you see the tedding animation, you'll never want anybody to go back to Farming Simulator 19 again. Deutz is actually in good shape. You can see repair bar as well as the fuel bar in the lower right hand corner. Alright, let's get this sucker cleaned off. There is a lot of mud on this. Like I said, for normally when you get equipment in modded maps like this, the equipment becomes damaged. So just to have the ability to come in and not have the equipment damaged, just dirty, is a nice touch to it. For those of you following and playing Farm Sim 22, might have asked why I'm not doing my Let's Play on Comston Farm. Probably the most popular map right now. Comston is nice, but Comston's going through several stages of development, and so it was recently discussed on how Comston would actually be going through an update in the near future, which had to be a new save. So I thought rather than get us through a bunch of stuff on that and then have to do a new save updates, I figured we'd just go ahead and start on something small and work our way up to something like Comston. There! I knew it would fit once we got going. I don't feel like it's worth washing that off just yet. It's just so nice and clean. I'm gonna shut off the shed lights. And we'll leave it open for now. You may have also noticed that as far as this month goes, or as far as this map goes, you may have noticed we're starting right in the month of August. This is where the seasons map picks up. It is August, and it goes through, depending on what you change for the amount of days per month, it will go through and change that up for you. right in the thick of August. Alright. Got this big mamma jamma. As you can see, the design schemes for this one are a lot cleaner. It's a lot cleaner than the other two New Hollands by a long shot. See all the lights coming on. You can see kind of how everything comes together quite nicely. This will be the New Holland that we use today. As you can see, you get a very nice, tight turning radius. 850 kilogram weight for New Holland. Back up right to this plow. This is what we use for the plow when we update to the T7. We'll do a larger version of this because the T7's got a lot more horsepower. But I wanted to start off with something that doesn't scream endgame. You know, may not be the smallest stuff, but honestly, you need a couple of larger things unless you're going to run 1 meter equipment, which, you know, is perfectly acceptable if that's what you want to do. We're going to go off and we're going to go ahead and plow the cornfield. That's automatically going to need that. We'll come back and we'll bale the straw and then start working on some hay. See a lot of hay in the area. Got some sugar beet growing here. Actually do stuff with sugar beet this time around. Thanks to productions, a lot of these crops that used to be useless are actually getting they're getting their 15 minutes of fame. So. This. So this is one of the first few mods that came out. That was nice to see this coming to fruition. Nice to see this coming up in the options as far as plows go. This is the subsoiler, I believe. As you can see, I don't have stones on. Please don't ask me to put stones on. I'm just not going to do it. At least not right now. Open up the ground pretty good at this one. So tractor can definitely handle it a lot better than you think. If we tried to go a bigger route though, we probably would have gotten curb stopped. Keeping it with the implements of power range that can handle it. Now there are a few other steps and stages that you can go through for bigger yields. As you can see, this needs lime, needs plowing is something that comes up. You get field info now, pretty straightforward. There are options on occasion that require mulching of the stalks. And I just don't know if that's not a requirement of this map. What is, I don't know how that really works because we haven't had enough mod maps to really tell. But this G240, this is a really nice tractor. Narrows, I was very surprised to see a narrow option for this in this configuration. Two narrows. Keeping it like this, that way we can use it for fertilizing and to these stages that the crop can actually drive on the crop, absolutely destroying it. goal is to eventually get some equipment. When we change over to weeds, I'll have to start thinking about sprayers and things like that. Here we are, playing FS22. You can see that parallax occlusion is making everything look three-dimensional. I know it's kind of a way to trick the system, but if you think about it, the lack of just kind of improvements in graphics spectrum is really good. Because the lighting's engine and the textures, of course, have the fact that we're able to get a system that basically pretends to get three-dimensional going is a nice touch. It looks really good on these fields that are plowed. Obviously, you don't want to give it too close of a look, otherwise the trick will be over. As you can see, 3-point link is even hooked into the weight there. So the weight's hooking rather than hooking into the frame of the tractor, pushing down on that axle. That weight is actually helping to put the weight directly on the axle rather than the body of the tractor itself and then the axle. That's all part of that thing that I was talking about. Plus, this is one of my favorite plow rig setups right here. I've been experimenting a little bit with things off to the side before this Let's Play. But honestly, who can complain? You got a Fiat Agri tractor, serious friggin' subsoiler / plow on the back of this thing, tearing up fields already, day one. After turning them into, after turning it into chaff. So the objective is to get through as much as we can and to just keep going from there. So G240 is filling my tillage and heavy lifting. It's doing a damn fine job of it. You can honestly hear that engine just kind of shuddering and working through that. Yeah, myself, I see the interior dash does look cool in a lot of these. The exterior of this particular tractor is a definite plus. That steering axle is a wicked cool engine. I'm talking in circles, of course. I'm extremely tired from work, which is why we're going to be doing, I think, the American map on days where I haven't slept. I would say stay tuned for tomorrow, because I may be on first tomorrow for a couple of hours with streaming. And quite honestly, we're going to try our hand streaming probably until about 4 today. Which will give me a little more time. I don't know if that current spreader does lime or not. Design is just so bestial. reminds me a little bit of the the Fendt tractors, if we're being honest. The Vario, like 1000s. Ones that, of course, are challengers when they're rebranded, which is interesting, and another development of the last year that we really haven't talked about is the development of Fendt coming to the United States. AGCO has moved the Challenger brand kind of the back seat in a lot of these cases and has moved Fendt to the front. Fendt is actually becoming a very popular brand, interestingly enough, which is leading to a lot of people becoming exposed to the European brand. And just in the last few months, the farming videos that I've been watching, where people have relationships with AGCO, they seem to be moving towards the Fendt brand, say the Massey Ferguson brand, which I mean is a shame in and of itself. Wow, okay. I don't think I've ever had that much fun plowing up a field before. The tractor is pretty cool. It's got some of the design schemes of something you'd see on the market today, but it's also got kind of like a rounded look to it. Can't wait to see what else I can get away with on this tractor. Holland 240. I mean, just look at that. Look at that. That's a prime example of a tractor. Anyway, enough about that. Ahead and get ourselves back over the farmstead. Slow way the heck down. All right. Doesn't fit through the front gate, the current tire setup. Now that I've seen it in action, taking a look at this thing, I'm not sure I really want to give it a different tire setup. Won't bother with changing anything up just yet, although I am going to put this 240 over here. Shelter. Those plows gonna make that difficult. There we go, doing handstands with my tractor. Alright, let's shut it off. Samaz is nice, but I may go for something smaller as far as windrowing goes. And I need a shed to store my straw in. So I'm thinking this is going to happen. Oh. So this is the only thing that worries me, is there's quite a limit on things. And I mean, this would be the ideal. This would be the ideal place to put all that hay. Now what I'm going to worry about is I'm going to worry about baling hay. Got a little bit of everything going on the farm today, which is exactly what we want if we can help. I like to be able to see a little bit of everything here, because it just, a little bit goes a long way. I'm going to turn on automatic drop, which is something you can do with certain balers now. I'm going to turn it off. I want to line up and hit these. Hit these headlands first. And one of the things that hasn't occurred yet, we have not gotten ourselves a straw DLC yet. Straw expansion, straw harvest expansion, has not been released for anything yet. We don't have twine for the mills. We have pellet producing harvester, which, let's be honest, was really cool to have in FS19. Now that productions are easily themselves in this situation. Because I see these balers sometimes who are versions close to this kind of thing, I don't know, sister balers or brother balers, something like that. Models that are similar, or something that I see a lot of. Anyway, I see a lot of those in my travels. For work, because I spend 97% of my time making deliveries to automobile repair shops, I get a lot of time out and about countryside, and I get to see a lot of farms that, quite honestly, I didn't even know were around. And there are some big dairies that I've spent my life going by, for example, that I didn't give a second thought to. Those have been really cool to go by and see some of the equipment they're pulling out for spring right now, because I live in Maine. So as spring approaches and winter declines, you see a lot more of that equipment come out from storage shelters. This is fantastic. Hear myself think for a minute while the baler's going. Let's turn this sucker on. We just want to pick up a majority of material. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I know that the width makes things difficult on pickup sometimes. $500 liters or so left. That's when things get interesting. Yeah, I mean, a variety of things going on today. I have to be honest and say I'm probably going to keep with keep up with the various activities going on. There may be times when I jump the timeline a little to do a few things out of the stream, just to give myself a chance to actually catch up on odds and ends here. Obviously, I don't have as much time to devote to setting up streams, so a lot of these will just start off simply where we left off. Start up where we and hopefully as we move these segments to Sundays, we have a little more luck with picking up where we left off FS19. Picking up this line. It's kind of disjointed straw swath. Quite honestly, I'm enjoying these New Holland tractors quite a lot. Comston was planned to be a New Holland farm. I think what we're going to do for that one is we're going to introduce JCB. So massive. So when we do that Let's Play, that'll be the direction that we take. There may also be a chance that I do a little more with International Harvester, paying attention to the modern news out there. You might have noticed that one of the big projects out there is EY Modding's Farmall tractor from the 1930s, bike style tractor. I grew up, I'm a huge John Deere fan. I know I don't talk about International Harvester very often, or Case International now. But when I was growing up, I grew up around a lot of Farmall tractors. So I know Farmall tractors more than I even know John Deere. And that's not really anything, excuse me by the way, sorry about that. That's not really anything new that I do love. That's interesting. When I hook into... it's like the sensor goes off in the tractor. See, some of the textures are off, but the performance of these tractors are ridiculous. Okay. Take out everything that we can. And unfortunately, that's the extent of what we can nail. So 9, 18, 20s. Luckily, straw does not actually... Straw is not necessary for the health of the cattle anymore. Obviously, I wouldn't want to leave this barn without it, to be perfectly honest with you. But, you know, if we run out of straw, I also don't have to worry that it's going to be super problematic. I also love the fact that I've got a very old-timey barn, but next to the in the old-timey barn, I have a robotic milking machine. Oh, look at that. You can actually walk out. I think this is the slurry pit. Actually, no, the slurry pit's on the other side of this. The farm building designs are fantastic on this. Okay, so we've done the baling there. Let's go ahead, we'll leave the baler here for now. Attach that out. I'm going to actually get the bale trailer. The reason that we're going to get the bale trailer with this is because I don't have a front bumper attachment. This is going to stay a regular trailer. So there are talks about some American-style bale trailers and balers coming to Mod Hub, and we'll see how that goes. I saw a setup that looked very much like the type of thing that I used to see a lot as a kid. Farms in our area. Today, you can see some loading taking place here. So let's get our tractor in position. And that's what August is for, right? So we've got August is a heavy hay season. It's normally the second cut, which tends to be the thickest of the 3 cuts that a lot of farms make. Some only make 2, but gonna go ahead and get ourselves up here. There's actually a bale fork back here. So there's a fork and there's regular pallet forks as well. Get ourselves backed into the corner. Get ourselves hooked into that weight system there. Love how it accounts for a cockpit that doesn't exist. And whoever you are modeling this design, please keep in mind that when I say the textures are a bit rough, notice I didn't sell the tractor. So I have no intentions of selling the tractor. I just wanted to say that unfortunately it looks like the textures are a bit rough. And in fact that seems to be a pretty normal legacy left behind by these modders. They're doing these mods. Sometimes it feels like unfortunate side effect of the legacy is that we don't have as much going on. We don't have enough of this going on. I don't know. Something about mods, and you'll have to forgive me, I'm kind of trailing off today. Mods are a difficult subject in Farming Simulator 22. And not because there aren't a bunch of good ones out there, It's the Pandora's box that's been presumably opened up by doing mods through the Giants mods. So it used to be a first come, first serve. Whoever got the mod out there would be the mod author. And then it became an apparent problem that wasn't going to cut it anymore. That's why I hate bales. Let's see. Get a strap. Yep, we can get a strap over that one. Perfect. So anyway, as it stands, mod authors can now produce tractors, same tractors as other modders. They have been coming with things like small differences, different customization options than the previous one, power options than the previous one. It's making for some really, really interesting outcomes on Farming Simulator Mod Hub. Not necessarily the worst outcomes, but interesting outcomes. There we go. See? Small-time farming equals me actually handling bales. Go figure. A little disappointed at the bale count. It's not a whole lot of straw, all things considered, so I'll probably end up buying some straw. It is what it is. Not as good at this in first person as I want to be. I keep catching on the damn edge of the bale. Keep reading the messages, hoping for a little more involvement. Obviously, Mama Duck, you're forgiven because you're working on things. The rest of you slums have Alright, let's get these bales on. You can tell I do bale work all the time. There we go. Just gonna send the T4 right back. Now, I mean, at the same time, we are having a serious amount of good luck here because our bale count isn't going to be ridiculous. I don't honestly know why I parked this in here. Okay. Let's get our straw bales. Put in their place. Luckily, some things will fit past this gate. If the mirrors counted, we'd be shaving it awfully close. Shut that off for the time being. Alright, so our first goal is to get this windrower out of there. Unless I want to stack... Well, let's stack the straw up right in this barn. I hate to do that, but honestly, it'll be easier for me to park the wagon outside. A lot of farmers wouldn't have these extras anyway. And we'll just zoom the straw from one end to the other. Yeah, that works actually pretty well. Oh, if I could stop being a foolish moron. Program. There is one thing I want to construct today. We're actually going to do this. We're going to do this to save ourselves some time today. Or we might do this to save ourselves some time. I gotta see if this is honestly going to work. So, let's go down to silos. Multi-fruit. Land is not owned by me. Land overlaps with other objects. I don't know that we can get rid of. There we go. We're just gonna put in a hayloft. That'll make it easier because then we're only doing straw bales. Wanted to do loose grass anyway. So this will just help us. Oh my god. Well then. That should... Holy crap. Alright, well. I guess, ladies and gentlemen, what I just did was force myself to reorganize this whole yard. Okay. Let's see. So somehow or another, all of that stuff around the chicken pen was interlinked with all of the stuff over here. Okay. That's alright. We can make it work. I guess it was to clean up the garbage, and in the interim, that took care of half the sheds as well. Well, that's unfortunate, but on the other hand, it's very fortunate, because now I don't have all that extra junk laying around. And quite honestly, a cleaner farmer is a happier farmer. But I mean, we even lost our sign. Oh, my goodness. It is really empty and not decorative in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so that's why you save before you do things like this. Alright, well, let's get to it anyway. It's unfortunate what just happened, but it does just set us up. I have an alpine farming barn and all that other stuff here, so we may end up just using a lot of that. Let's unhook the bales. Yeah, That's the thing about live streaming this sort of thing. Have a chance to experiment. You don't get a chance to edit it out. You don't get a chance to try to save it. Watch this. I'm going to fling the tractor down. For some reason, there was another bale hooked in there, too. Yeah, I'm just having a lovely time with things, apparently. So we are just going to use this to our advantage. And push these right up in here. Small enough shed. I don't see us using it for much of anything else, to be honest. So it looks like we're going to have to use a portion of the funds we had left over that I thought were well and truly going to be kept into a... Holy crud. Anyway. I thought that we're well and truly set not to cause any issues. Now I get to spend money on sheds. I've got to move a bunch of stuff and spend money on sheds. So you guys get literally a taste of every sort of process today. Honestly, we're gonna handle all sorts of stuff before we handle the sheds. The sheds will be the last thing. Lower center of gravity. There wasn't much to begin with. I don't think that did anything to the overall. It bothers me that that happened, I guess. I'm not sure what I just witnessed there either. Okay, so this should have been listed as the episode of things that just absolutely surprise and dumbfound me. And now I got bales that won't come loose in the forks. There we go. Doesn't have to look pretty in there. Just has to work. So we'll do that. It's just gonna honestly... I don't even have the right thing highlighted. Alright. A serious disaster of epic proportions. All of our decorations are just gone. I'll actually put this tractor weight over here. I'm actually going to park this tractor right here. Don't have a whole lot of wheat. I'm still so very confused about the sheds. And And I guess for right now, we're just going to leave those as is. I'll probably do shed maintenance and set up later. Let's see. Honestly, I'm gonna check out that field across the street from the farm, and we're gonna see if we have any reason to plow again. Field 12 does not need plowing. All of the grass fields need plowing. Okay. Well, let's get the disc mine out. I'm actually going to take a moment to rate the horsepower needed to run the disc mine. Okay, so the disc mine needs 90. I've got 96 horses on that. We've got 155 on that. So we're actually going to take the smaller tractor and the disc mine off of that. So we'll go ahead, we'll park this just over and out of the way. There's a few different things that we'll be using the smaller tractor for today. So the disc mine is a bit of an experiment, honestly. It's a bit larger than anything we need. Worst case scenario is the T4 will probably be driving something else. She is very long and she's somewhat wide for the tractor that she is. So even though I highly enjoy this, I've used this a few times in Farming Simulator 22. I haven't used this. I didn't use it in FS19 really at all. And the first obvious flaw has come out. Yep, so we can't get the disc mine past the farm gates. This is actually very interesting at this point. Oh, there we go. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and unfold the mower. Well, the advantage we have with the disc mine is we can steer and direct it the way we want to. So for this first run, obviously, we're going to get right on the edge of the fence here. We're going to see how well this small tractor does. See, this is why cattle farming, when you're doing grassland work, is actually kind of a cakewalk. Because a lot of this stuff doesn't require anything too terrible for horses. And it doesn't require a lot of work on downhill spaces, uphill spaces. It's a nicer type of farming. So we're going to go ahead and do this as the final task for today's Let's Play, is disc mining this field. This is actually a lot more fun than what you might think. Side-sitting equipment or implements really isn't normally my deal. I will leave the field, any of the field work for Let's Plays at this point. I think it's kind of necessary, just simply because there isn't a whole lot of need for anything else. So you can change the disc mine on the fly. We're getting caught on the fence line a little here. T4 is handling this surprisingly well. This mowing deck looks way too big for it anyway. No self-propelled units. Farming simulator yet, as far as the mowing units go. Kind of a disappointment that. Just when you think you've hit the rock bottom, everything comes out okay in the end. Position the disc mine any way we see fit. Swinging it wide like this is gonna cause a little bit, but it's great once you have the concentration to do it. I just don't have as much concentration as I'd like today. We will probably try to stick with this if we can. And I'll be honest and say New Holland will probably be a fallback option anytime we're doing any small maps, not just small European, but you know, there is a plan to do, you know, there'll probably be other. What is going on here? Something's not, could just be the jankiness of that turn, honestly. That was not what I expected it to be. This is probably the more challenging implement that I have in store for this Let's Play, though. So just take it as it is. I actually cut just a line across here. Change directions. Like I said, this will be the last thing that I handled in today's Let's Play. I'm just a little tired, and you know, doing this after a shift at work can be a little challenging. There we go. Bringing the deck in closer means I get a better cut. Alright. Easy enough. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but I can't help myself. I kind of just enjoy general. I don't know, just farming in general has always been relaxing. So it's something that I am very intense about. I'd say the slowdown and the jankiness is just due to the fact that it's a manual transmission with the T4. But you know, this is what Farming Simulator is at the basic level. Just gonna pick that up, reposition ourselves. If I just went around in a circuit, this would probably go a lot easier than what I'm doing right now, honestly, but I haven't had much experience with the disc bind yet, so it's kind of a trippy experience to say the least. It's my favorite mower to use, without a doubt, but it's definitely like there's a skill set to it, you know. I don't have the said skill set yet. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could also set it. You know, it's like we've got the directly behind us approach, which isn't a bad approach. I think I like it, quite honestly, offset to me. Most of these fields are funky shaped, quite honest. I don't know how the tight quarters are going to work on any of these fields. I haven't really figured that out just yet. So I can tell you I'm quite enjoying the overall experience. Obviously, there's some kinks in the map that I did not have figured out ahead of time. Sorry that we literally lost the opportunity for like several of the sheds to go missing. This is going to make an interesting thing. While we're talking about things being interesting, live, unfiltered, not scripted, I will say that this is all going up on YouTube, unscripted. That's going to be the whole point of it. Catch the replays, become a member of the YouTube channel. If you do spend any time on YouTube, please go there. It's going to be an experience to say the least, especially with this first video. I literally went and demolished a lamppost, and a lot of other things went with it. And I should have just tried to build around those things, I guess. Gears grinding. I don't like that. One good thing about the off-center mowing deck is that snap turn that you can perform without even really thinking of it. I'll watch videos with real farmers using real disc binds, and it's tremendous. It's like how well they become versed in the operation of these things. And those little pieces. Of course, this would actually be a very good mowing deck for the current Elm Creek map, the current US map on base game map, FS22. Alright, so like I said, we're gonna stop it there today. Um, this is me trying to get back into this, and sometimes you need a little bit of a push, but also sometimes you just need to take a little bit of time to farm, and that's what we're doing today. And the experiences that we have today with farming will bring us down even further. I hope you like the New Holland theme as much as I do. It's a different tractor brand for me. I don't typically use anything New Holland. Um, I hope anyone out there can forgive me for this mess that is now my farmyard. I'm going to do this off camera. Obviously, I'm probably going to reduce the time and get something set up off camera to offset this, probably right after this episode, as a matter of fact. But when we come back, we'll do some more mowing of the other grass fields. We'll do some tedding, which is fun stuff now. And we'll jump into this little blue, the tractor, the serious tractor. I'm hoping the one thing we do see, which was a mod from Farming Sim 19, is a little two-wheel drive T5, which was wicked fun to drive around. I would love to have one of those on the farm, and I'd modernize with less horsepower, but more fun. And tell me what you think about the G240 here. I want to know your thoughts on the beast that also was engineered with farming of this type of territory in mind. With that being said, I'd like to just thank you, everyone who came on. As you can see, we're counting through the silage pretty good as well. But, we had a good time today. We had some laughs. We had some shocks, that's for sure. But I do have a method to getting some of this taken care of. And I can't wait to see you guys till next time. Thank you again for coming on, and I hope you all have a great day.